Hello everyone, I'm Alikya from 2CSCC holding the roll number 5G6 from DBIT. I'm here to present a seminar about ethical hacking. The concepts that are going to be covered in this video are introduction to hacking, hackers, types of hackers, hacking process, ethical hacking, importance of ethical hacking, protocol concepts, types of ethical hacking, required skills of an ethical hacker, roles and responsibilities of an ethical hacker, phases of ethical hacking, and finally the advantages and disadvantages of it. Let us start with the very basics of hacking. Hacking first appeared as a term in the 1970s but became more popular through the next decade, that is supposedly in the 1980s. When the term hacker was created, it described the engineers who developed code for mainstream computers. Now it means a skilled programmer who attempts to gain unauthorized access to computer systems and networks by taking advantage of vulnerabilities in the system. Even though the hacking has become a term that most often describes malicious and unethical activities, it doesn't have to be true in all cases. A hacker can still use his skills for some good purposes. Hacking in cybersecurity refers to the misuse of devices like computers, smartphones, tablets, and networks to cause damage to our corrupt systems, gather information of users, steal data and documents, or disrupt data related activities. A traditional view of hacker is a programmer who is highly skilled in coding and modifying computer software and hardware systems. But this narrow view does not cover the true technical nature of hacking. Hackers are increasingly growing in sophistication, using stealthy attack methods designed to completely go unnoticed by the cyber software and IT teams. Hacker write scripts to penetrate into systems, crack passwords, and steal data of the users. They are also highly skilled in creating attack vectors that trick the users into opening malicious attachments or links and freely giving up their sensitive personal data. We can observe these kind of things in the form of random pop-ups, in the form of ads, etc. As a result, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry with extremely sophisticated and successful techniques. Motive behind hacking or the reasons behind hacking. There are typically four key drivers that lead to hacking websites or systems. The first one is financial gain through the theft of credit card details or defrauding financial services. That is basically for money. The second one is corporate espionage. Espionage is basically a kind of spying that typically governments do in order to get information about politics or military. The third one is to gain notoriety or respect for their hacking talents. Notoriety is a quality of a person who is famous for his bad deeds or bad things. The fourth one and the final one is the state-sponsored hacking that aims to steal data, business information, and national intelligence. On top of that, there are politically motivated hackers who aim to raise public attention by leaking sensitive information such as anonymous. Types of hackers. Hackers are broadly classified into three categories: black hat hackers, grey hat hackers, and white hat hackers. Let us discuss about them in detail. Black hat hackers, these are the bad guys of the hacking scene. They go out of their way to discover loopholes in computer systems and software to exploit them for financial gain or for malicious purposes such as to gain reputation or to get famous, carry out corporate espionage or a part of a nation state hacking campaign. These individuals' actions can inflict serious damage on both computer users and the organizations they work for. They can steal sensitive personal information, comprise computer and financial systems, and alter or take down the functionality of websites and critical networks. White hat hackers. These guys can be seen as the good guys of the hacking scene who attempt to prevent the success of black hat hackers through proactive hacking. They use their technical skills to break into the systems and access and test the level of network security, also known as ethical hacking. This helps expose vulnerabilities in system before black hat hackers can detect and exploit them. The techniques white hat hackers use are similar to those of black hat hackers techniques, but these individuals are hired by organizations to test and discover political holes in their security defenses. Grey hat hackers. They sit somewhere between the good guys and the bad guys. Unlike black hat hackers, they attempt to violate standards and principles but without intending to do harm or gain financially. Their actions are typically carried out for the common good. For example, they may exploit a loophole to raise awareness that it exists, but unlike the white hat hackers, they do it so publicly. So sometimes this may alert the black hat hackers to the existence of this loophole, which leads to hacking. Now let us move on to ethical hacking. Business and organizations hire ethical hackers to help improve their network, applications, and other computer systems in order to prevent data theft and fraud. One of the first examples of ethical hacking occurred in the 1970s when the US government used red teams to hack its own computer systems. Ethical hacking is a proactive form of information security. It involves authorized attempt to gain unauthorized access to computer system or data. This practice helps to identify security vulnerabilities or loopholes which can then be resolved before a malicious attacker or a black hat hacker has the opportunity to exploit them. Ethical hackers are security experts that perform these security assessments. The proactive work they do helps to improve an organization's security posture. With prior approval from the organization or the owner of the IT asset, the mission of ethical hacking is opposite from the malicious hacking. In order for a hacking to be ethical or a hacker to be ethical hacker, he must have the permission from the owner to probe their network and identify the security risks. Importance of ethical hacking. There are many important points regarding this ethical hacking. Some of them are testing password strength, ensuring security settings, penetrating a system test after every software upgrade or update, ensuring the data communication channels can't be intercepted, testing validity of authentication protocols, ensuring security features in applications, defense against denial of service attacks, network security and testing of anti-intrusion features, and many more. Types of ethical hacking. There are broadly 5 kinds of ethical hacking: web application hacking, system hacking, web server hacking, hacking wireless networks, and social engineering. Web application hacking is a process of exploiting software over the HTTP by exploiting the software Visual Chrome browser. System hacking. The hackers gain access to personal computers over a network through system hacking. Password busting, privilege escalation, malicious software construction, and packet sniffing are the defense measures that the IT security experts can use to combat the threats of system hacking. Web server hacking. An application software database server generates web information in real time. So attackers can use port scan, sniffing attacks, and social engineering techniques to grab credentials, passcodes, and company information from the web application. Hacking wireless networks. Because wireless networks can use radio waves to transmit, a hacker can easily squid into the system from either a location nearby. Social engineering, the art of manipulating the mass or the people so that they divulge sensitive information, is known as social engineering. Required skills of an ethical hacker. The first one is knowledge of programming. It's required for security professionals working in the field of application security and software development lifecycle (SDLC). Scripting knowledge. This is also required for personnel dealing with network-based attacks and host-based attacks. The next one is networking skills. This skill is important because threats mostly originate from networks. One should know about all the devices present in the network, how they are connected, and how to identify if they are compromised. Understanding of databases. Attacks are mostly targeted at databases. Knowledge of database management systems such as SQL will help you to effectively inspect operations carried out in databases. The next thing is knowledge of multiple platforms like Windows, Linux, Unix, etc. And the ability to work with different hacking tools available in the market, and the knowledge of search engines, and servers. There are typically 5 phases in ethical hacking: reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing tracks. While accessing the security of an organization's IT assets, ethical hacking aims to mimic an attacker. In doing so, they look for attack vectors against the target. The initial goal is to perform reconnaissance, gaining as much as information as possible. Once the ethical hacker gathers enough information, they use it to look for vulnerabilities against the asset. They perform this assessment with a combination of automation and manual testing. Even sophisticated systems may have to complex countermeasure technologies which may be vulnerable. They do not use at covering vulnerabilities. Ethical hackers use exploits against the vulnerabilities to prove how a malicious attacker could exploit them. Some of the most common vulnerabilities discovered by ethical hackers include broken authentication, injection attacks, security misconfigurations, use of components with known vulnerabilities, sensitive data exposure. After testing period, ethical hackers prepare a detailed report. This documentation includes steps to compromise the discovered vulnerabilities and steps to patch or mitigate them. Ethical hacker roles and responsibilities. The roles and responsibilities of an ethical hacker are meeting with the client to go through the security systems currently put in the place, verifying the organization systems, network topology, and vulnerable entry points, performing penetration testing on the systems, sorry, identifying and documenting security flaws and vulnerabilities, testing the level of security in the network, finding out the best security solutions, creating penetrable test reports, performing penetration testing after the implementation of suggested or the new security features, finding out alternatives to security features which are not working. Hacking experts follow 4 key protocol concepts, that is, staying legal, defining the scope, report vulnerabilities, respect data sensitivity. Staying legal includes obtaining proper approval before accessing and performing a security assessment. Defining the scope is determining the scope of the assessment so that the ethical hacker's work remains legal and within the organization's approved boundaries. Reporting vulnerabilities. They notify the organization of all vulnerabilities discovered during the assessment, provide remediation advice for resolving these vulnerabilities, respect data sensitivity. Depending on the data sensitivity, ethical hackers may have to agree to a non-disclosure agreement in addition to another terms and conditions required by the accessed organization. The final concept of this seminar is the advantages and disadvantages of hacking. Some of the advantages of hacking are: this helps to fight against cyber terrorism and to fight against national security breaches. This helps to take preventive action against the hackers, and it also helps to build a system that prevents any kind of penetration by hackers. It offers security to banking and financial establishments and also helps to identify and close the loopholes in a computer system or network. Disadvantages of hacking. This may corrupt the files or data of an organization. They might also use this information gained for malicious use. Subsequently, trustful programmers are expected to have achievement in this framework. By hiring such professionals will increase the cost of the company eventually. This technique can harm someone's privacy, and it is illegal and hampers system operation. Limited scope. The ethical hackers can't progress beyond defined scope to make an attack successful. However, it's not unreasonable to discuss out of the scope attack potential with the organization. Resource constraints. Malicious hackers don't have the time constraint that the ethical hackers often face. Computing power and budget are additional constraints of ethical hackers. Restricted methods. Some organizations ask experts to avoid test cases that lead to servers to crash. Example, denial of service attacks. That's it for this seminar. I hope this video helped you learn something new about hacking. Thank you.